So conscious memory could be false, could be embellished, could be select, could be blocked memory. I mean, O.J. Simpson said he never killed his wife, right? He might be so, in a way, in a kind of psychotic state where he might have convinced himself he's never done it. People can pass lie detector tests even because they can actually play a game to go into almost like a state of psychosis where they believe wholeheartedly that they were not involved. The subconscious, if you get in there and you can get to where the true memory is, you can get the truth. I created a human lie detector. I don't know if any of you read that in the book or anything. Where I didn't have a lie detector thing, so I created something tied into their central nervous system. Not autonomic nervous system, but something that could affect body movement. So I created a human lie detector where I had their hands in the air so that if they did lie, they're not conscious, but there'd be an uncontrollable muscle movement, a spasm that occurs in this specific area. And I tested it. I forced the subconscious to lie. Tested it. And so I spent about 2 to 3 hours talking, getting to know the people. I hypnotized witnesses, victims, and accused, military, with prisoned officers. But the real information we got was out of the accused, people accused of the crime. And it was really interesting because some of the people that they suspected of the crime, if they weren't hypnotized, they probably would be in jail right now. They proved their innocence. That it was circumstantial evidence, someone's point of view, but not really what their motive was. Does that kind of make sense to you? Yeah. And I think this is a whole new cutting-edge field because America is about 5% successful. They don't tell you, but there are still people. I got called, I did a radio show once, and I was talking about the forensic hypnosis. I was going to come out with a book, and I decided better not, I'll wait again. Yeah. So, because there's personal information in the book. My first trip, I had to sign a secrecy agreement under, Taiwan treason, execution, But then it started getting into all of the internet and the newspapers, and things started coming out. One of the police guys I was working with was, I guess, getting paid by a local newspaper and started spilling the beans. The police wanted to take credit for getting the information. The military wanted to take credit. So one of them wanted to first jump on the bandwagon. I just kind of wanted to remain silent and quiet and not involved. When I first went to Taiwan and I started bringing hypnosis to Taiwan, and all of a sudden people were starting to be interested in hypnotism, I'd have like a kid come up and say, I played a high school play and I was Tamu the hypnotist. That's what they call me, Tamu, And it was like pretty cool. Then I started working on this forensic case in 1990. I came out in 1994. The murder and weapons procurement scandal occurred in 1993. In 1995, the Taiwan government, all these Secret Service guys, my agent goes, some government people want to have a meeting with you, Tom. And I said, okay. I walk in. We're sitting at this table, and here are all these head guys, the head of counterintelligence, head of the military police, head of technology, which was really great because they were interested in hypnotism. They asked me, we have this terrible case, it's deflated the morale of our government, military. This colonel who was murdered was really one of the most loyal, honorable guys, and we want to restore his honor to his family. Would you work on the case? And I said, heck no. And I said, no way am I going to be working on some murder case. Man, if I work on cases, someone to lose weight, stop smoking, increase memory, move there. But I'm not going to be doing some murder case. Are you guys nuts? So I said, politely, I said, no thank you. I'm here trying to introduce the culture to hypnosis and trying to get a little bit of an acceptance because this is a 5,000-year-old culture where there was not one hypnotist in that country. And there was really only a few psychologists and psychiatrists. Most of it was medical doctors. So, and acupuncturists, because acupuncture is very, very popular in Taiwan. So I said, no thanks, thanks anyway. So that year I set a world's record. I hypnotized 3,800 Chinese people, an interpreter, Mandarin Chinese, in a world's record show. I was on the road with a guy named John Evans. Maybe you guys have known him. He balances cars on his head. He's this big, he's got a whole bunch of Guinness World Book of Records. So John brought his car to balance on his head and walk around with this car on his head. He walked around with people on his head. If you ever see him, you'll see something on his head. That would be an indication that's John. So I did that, and I did the TV shows, and I did some of the stage stuff because it was kind of a fun show. It was a live show called Super Sunday. And it was the biggest show in Taiwan, so I had a chance to hypnotize all of the top celebrities. The first show I did, I showed reincarnation. First time ever on Taiwan television. Reincarnation on a celebrity. Man, I was invited to every Buddhist temple. It was like so great to go in these Buddhist temples to talk philosophy, to talk wisdom, to talk about life and soul and reincarnation. And so that was great. Even the president's wife wanted to go back to a past life. She was Buddhist, and President Lee was a Catholic or Christian, so we didn't want to do it. We didn't want no religious wars going on there in Taiwan. But I hypnotized so many people to bring them in tune with the inner love for themselves. Even this guy that was the president of a huge, I guess it was China Airlines or something like that, he lost his courage. So I regressed him back to find his courage and bring it back. And it was great. We got a free flight to Hong Kong out of it. Every few weeks you have to leave the country to renew your visa. So I left the country. But it was really exciting because in 1996, the government approached me again and said, we're still at a standstill. He goes, we even tried 2 psychics and we couldn't get any information out of them. You know, in America now we've got these psychics solving cases, if they're really solving them, but that's what we have, this psychic investigative shows now. So they asked me again, you know, we help us out, please. They were almost begging me, and I said, well, the worst that can happen is I can get killed. The best that can happen is I can find a new breakthrough in this thing, because I knew that forensic hypnosis was very unsuccessful in America. So I sat down with Dr. Wong. One time I went to work with Dr. Wong. He had 2 different kinds of shoes on. This guy was like a genius. But he had the most wrinkled clothes. You know how some of the most genius guys don't care about all this trivial stuff? You know? Dr. Wong, by the way, is now a great hypnotherapist in America. He uses that hypno music, and he says all of his clients go into such deep trances. Every time he puts it on, he uses the EEG on everybody. So him and I were exploring EEG after we did our forensics. Now having this extra tool, what a great thing, and bring into the forensic hypnosis. So I said, okay, well, the worst thing that happened, I can get killed. The best thing that can happen is it could be a success. So why not go for greatness? You know, we're here for a short time. How many times do we run away from things? As a kid, I used to run away from everything. You know, fear, you know. So I had to remove it. I had to get my courage back. And I had to do something to change my life. And I was already doing it by going to Taiwan, first creating a method, hypnotizing people 14 hours a day. You work 7 or 8 hours a day here. It's a lot of work. You do that in Taiwan and they think you're a sissy. They think it's nothing because they work. Kids get up in the morning starting homework at 6 o'clock. They go to school, they come home, they're tutored, they do homework, they go to bed at about 11, 12 o'clock because they're constantly studying. That's why their eyes are so strained, and that's why so many of them wear glasses out there. It's true. And because they're also studying in low light and so forth, so they strain their eyes. Because only a few of them, a small percentage, can be accepted into universities, so the pressure is tremendous. So, the end of 1996, they asked me, will you work on it? Can you help us out? And I said, well, never done it before. This is the second time. They're still at a roadblock because they haven't gotten information, the right information to get them the right evidence through the memories to help them solve the case, to find the answers, to get them on the right path. That's all I wanted to do, because they were on the wrong path. They never knew how big this case was. This case involved Colonel Ling, weapons procurement officer for the Taiwan Navy. He was murdered like December 13th, 1993. Before he was murdered, he secretly recorded one of the other colonels talking about all the scandal with the Taiwan, it's called the Blue Gang, the Taiwan Mafia. There's organized crime in government agencies, believe it or not. So they asked me if I'd work on it. I said, yes, I definitely will. So I started practicing, trying to come up with some formulas and methods. First thing we had to do was defuse that suspect or those people's fears that were here to get information out of them, to accuse them of a crime. Because that's what they thought we were going to do, was try to manipulate their mind to confess to maybe something they didn't do. So we decided our first approach is to find out physically or psychologically what can we do to help them as a human being. You know what I say to a government agent? I say, you're a soldier second and a human being first. All human beings have some type of problem in their life. What could we do to help you? Well, you're here about the case. No, I'm not. I don't care about your case. But again, it's kind of tough. When you're working with imprisoned officers, you've got to, number one, get your mind off of that case and into getting them into a deep trance, because you're not the investigators. So I taught the team of these 6 or 7 guys how to be hypnosis investigators. And so the first guy they wanted me to hypnotize, here I go into the country, I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I must be nuts and crazy. And it's so much easier being at home and maybe doing my therapy or having someone do something just silly. It's so much easier. But yet I said, I'm going to go and do this. Now I have to try to do it. Every time I said yes to doing something, I had to figure out how to do it. Even like I did his Fox special, I had to compete with Paul McKenna doing a remote hypnotic induction, creating a 3-person cataleptic state outdoors 2,000 miles away, watching them watching me on the TV and having someone walk up their stomachs to the top of a waterfall. I didn't know how to do it, but I had to create it once I said it. But I created it in my mind. Anything we can imagine in our mind, if we can believe in it and see it and project it, we can manifest it into reality. Can't jump into the air without an airplane, but you can do some amazing things. So I said, okay, who's the guy I'm going to hypnotize? I'm thinking, I'm going to hypnotize a witness or something. Maybe the secretary, the chauffeur, the dead general. We want you to hypnotize the guy accused of the murder. I go, what? Yeah, we want you to hypnotize the guy accused of the murder. We can't get anything out of him. He won't talk. He doesn't budge. There's no emotions. So they show me this funeral of Colonel Ling, and there's a guy sitting there, just cold. And you go, we can't get anything out of him. So I said, okay, well, let's do it. So they brought him in. I changed up the room to make it like my hypnotherapy room. The guy comes in. He's handcuffed. He's blindfolded. I'm saying, oh my God, this is a client? Look at this. I'm going to hypnotize a prisoner. I go, what am I, nuts? But hey, if I can help the government, if I can get a recognition that our science works, maybe it'll open up the door to this technology for all these Asian people. Who don't know anything about that, who walk around sad and angry and can't even smile. Part of my mission there, we're getting these people to be happy. I get a whole group of Chinese people coming in like zombies, and they'd be walking out smiling like kids. I was instilling a happiness from their heart to their smile. And I even created laughter, but the laughter was from their heart, so it was different. So anyway, so I went to meet this guy. He comes in. And we're talking, and so after we had to undo his handcuffs, he said he wouldn't harm us. He just wanted to smoke a cigarette and stuff. And so I'm getting to know him, getting to build a trust with this guy. I hypnotized him. We regressed him to a past life memory. It was a full memory, full past life memory. He was there, specific details. So then we said we're going to take him to the event. We had the investigative team waiting outside. We had microphones hidden in the couches. We had secret cameras hidden. There was a big glass window like this with the curtains closed. And I knew behind that glass window was some Chinese guy with a big camera ready to videotape. I couldn't let that curtain open unless the guy was in a trance. What if he woke and saw that thing? Everything would be ruined. It'd hit all the newspapers. I'd just go home and never have a chance to go and continue with my research. See, I'm a researcher. And I was researching, how far can we go? Now the whole thing was, I'm going to try to bring up the memory of an event, but I want to also waken them up with them not having to feel or remember that they revealed all of this stuff, because the emotional pain might be tremendous